Boxing as a sport has always made an effect around the world, whether it's a professional match or an Olympic tournament, due to the extreme mental and physical skills required to master it. Filmmakers have leveraged their passion for combat sports to brilliantly build intense narratives around it, resulting in some of the best sports drama films ever made. Stay tuned to find out some of the best boxing movies of all time. First up on our list is Million Dollar Baby. If you're a female boxer seeking for training inspiration, especially if you've ever felt you weren't treated like the woman boxer you are, this 2004 boxing film starring Hilary Swank and Clint Eastwood is ideal. It may also make you cry at the conclusion, but we don't want to give anything away if you haven't seen it yet. This film is about Maggie, who begins training with Eastwood's character, a washed-up old-time trainer. Despite his initial skepticism, their dedication and hard work culminates in a type of father-daughter bond at the end. Next, The Fighter. The film The Fighter features Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale and is actually based on a true story of Mickey Ward Wahlberg and Dickie Eklund, who are siblings in the late 1980s professional boxing world. Christian Bale earned the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his portrayal of Eklund, a once promising athlete. After going the distance and surviving 10 rounds with Sugar Ray Leonard, he eventually succumbs to a crack addiction. When the movie begins, he's training with brother Mickey, despite the fact that family drama, financial difficulties, and the judgment-impairing properties of crack cocaine have put a strain on the brothers' relationship. The Fighter was Wahlberg's passion project for years, and the actor got in incredible shape for the character, even refusing a stunt double in favor of performing his fights personally. Such was his quest for unequaled authenticity. The picture is portrayed as an R-rated version of Rocky, with the added twist of a complicated family dynamic and a real-life tale about the downward spiral of drug addiction. Thanks to director David O. Russell, the fact that the lows are so excruciatingly low makes the final successes all the more powerful. Next, Requiem for a Heavyweight. Rod Serling's breakthrough success as a writer came in 1956 with Requiem for a Heavyweight. Later, he created The Twilight Zone, one of the most well-known television shows of all time. However, no science fiction nor supernatural elements are present in Requiem. This is the straightforward story with a washed-up old fighter and a manager as a sidekick. In the original television adaptation, Jack Palance plays the boxer while Keenan Wynn played the manager. The BBC adapted the Playhouse 90 television program featuring a young Sean Connery. This version was tragically lost to time. Next, The Boxer. Daniel Day-Lewis has a golden touch. It's no secret. Almost every one of his performances has received worldwide acclaim, and he is regarded as a master method actor who puts everything he has into every character. As a result, it should come as no surprise that he has won 3 Academy Awards for Best Actor. Though he didn't win the major prize for his role in Jim Sheridan's 1997 picture The Boxer, he did receive a Golden Globe nomination for his contribution to the film. While this picture is sometimes ignored in DDL's illustrious career, the actor gives one of his most intimate and delicate performances as Danny Flynn, a warrior and crook who tries to get his life back on track after being released from prison and find love with Emily Watson. Unfortunately, conflicts between the IRA's many groups result in violence and drama. Boxing is portrayed as a location where combatants may get away from society and their personal problems. The Boxer also depicts Ireland in the final years of the Troubles in a harsh and realistic manner. Now, When We Were Kings. In October 1974, the fight in the Rumble in the Jungle took place. The event was designated as a Century Sporting Event, and it was preceded by a 3-day music festival known as Zaire 74. However, since Foreman was injured during the exercise, the fight was postponed for a month, while the concert became a well-known event on its own on the originally scheduled dates. When We Were Kings, which documents the entire event in climactic battle, and Soul Power, which concentrates primarily on the Zaire 74 music festival, are 2 excellent documentaries on the subject. Next, The Great White Hope. The Great White Hope, a Tony Award-winning Broadway production based on the actual story of Jack Johnson, one of the sport's all-time greats, was adapted into a 1970 film starring James Earl Jones and Jane Alexander as an interracial marriage. It's not that surprising that racial hatred and bigotry have shaped and characterized American history. Johnson won the world's first black heavyweight champion in 1908, prompting calls for a great white hope, a white opponent to reclaim the belt from the black man. Oh, and Johnson was also a controversial figure since he married a white woman, which was considered as a challenge to the era's white supremacy. Many portions of the true narrative are fictionalized and dramatized in the film, but the spirit of Johnson's legacy legacy, the hardships he encountered, and the inconceivable difficulty of being a champion and black, or even being black at all, in a white nationalist society are all preserved. If you're looking for a documentary on Johnson's life, we recommend Ken Burns' Unforgivable Blackness, The Rise and Fall of Jack Johnson, which follows his life with Burns' trademark painstaking attention to detail. Up next, Creed. Creed's a boxing film in the Rocky franchise that focuses on Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, who, unlike Rocky, hails from an affluent family. The film features real-life boxer Tony Bellew as the opponent, as well as a melancholy performance by Sylvester Stallone as Rocky passing the torch to Michael B. Jordan. Creed was published in 2015, and it's already spawned a sequel, Creed 2, which was released in 2018. If you like the Rocky movies, you should see Creed, especially if you grew up with the early ones and are sentimental. Next, Warrior. Warrior is yet another epic boxing film. Entering a mixed martial arts event forces two estranged brothers to reconcile with each other and their lives. This is Warrior, a boxing film directed by Gavin O'Connor and starring Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. It was released in 2011. You'll see recovering alcoholics, religious people, MMA fights, a daughter with health difficulties, financial struggles, and of course, the primary plot, two brothers who find a way to reconcile with one another in this boxing, well, not quite boxing movie. As you can see, Warrior will inspire you in many areas of your life and will show you that everything is possible if you work hard for something you believe in. If nothing else, you should see this film for Nick Nolte's Oscar-nominated portrayal as the brother's alcoholic father. Next, Champion. It's said to be the only one at the top. No film depicts the savagery of an egomaniac narcissist better than the 1949 Champion, featuring Kirk Douglas, who's a boxer that really doesn't care how many lives he has to destroy in order to become the greatest. Even in boxing flicks with instructors, mentors, and romantic interests, the fight finishes with the boxer and his opponent. Films like The Champ and Rocky, more on these later, are about people battling for their authenticity and integrity. Champion, on the other hand, is about a big hunk who lacks self-respect and humility. Champion's an unvarnished film focusing on the pitfalls of egotism and greed, and it depicts a boxer's triumph as well as his collapse. As a result, it's one of the greatest boxing films of all time. Up next, Raging Bull. Raging Bull is certainly one of our favorite boxing films, as well as one of our favorite movies of all time, despite the fact that it appears to be a boxing film when it is actually a harsh and intense character study shot in perfect black and white. Raging Bull, written by Paul Schrader and Mardik Martin, directed by Martin Scorsese, and featuring a stellar cast, is widely recognized as one of the best films of the 1980s, if not at all. We believe Robert De Niro is a true boxing fan. Jake LaMotta, an Italian-American middleweight boxer who led a self-destructive existence, is the subject of another boxing film starring him from 1980. Unlike practically every other film on this list, the boxing ring looks to be front and center here, thanks to Thelma Schoonmaker's excellent editing, dynamic sound editing, and rapid camera cuts. Amazing boxing movie. You must check it out. Lastly, Rocky. Listening to Rocky's soundtrack is impossible not to be motivated to work out hard. You almost feel compelled to get up at dawn and run around the city before eating raw eggs for breakfast. The first ever Rocky film debuted in 1976, and Sylvester Stallone's performance was hailed as one of the decade's best. There are already 8 boxing films in the franchise, but the first tells the American dream story of Rocky Balboa, a debt collector who's offered the opportunity to fight the world's famous champion. The film, which was made in less than a month on a $950,000 budget, went on to win 3 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. If you haven't watched it yet and practice boxing, you must do so immediately. And there you have it, 11 of the best boxing movies of all time. Thanks for watching.